Episode 9. How can I make stuff more appealing and more interesting for our members? So, the question I got last week, actually, it was this week, about hey, we're always like kind of doing the same stuff in the fitness world, like powerlifting, CrossFit, Zumba, carrying, flipping, dragging, etc., etc. And we're kind of running out of ideas like how to make it more enticing. So we started a little fun project, me and the boys, Toby and Phil, and we actually sat down end of last year, actually it was fall of last year, and we thought about, hey, how can we structure 2020, so this year, in terms of bridging the gap between like decent training, serious training, and healthy training, etc., and challenging people, like giving them the opportunity to challenge themselves. And we came up not with a very brand new idea, which was we're doing a bunch of competitions, in-house competitions, like splitting it up between like functional fitnessing and powerlifting and strongman and weightlifting. This is not a brand new idea by any means. But I think the beauty itself lies in the execution of it. So let's make it very practical. The first, I think it's 7 weeks. So we're in the midst of the powerlifting cycle. Is very simply, like the fundamentals are very simple. Like we just took a random powerlifting template. And like we're starting with 10-10 and then 8-8 and then 6-6 and 4-4 and 2-2 to kind of show people that it's not about like the template you choose, but the execution behind it. So what does it mean? And we like randomly choose those rep schemes just to prove a point of maybe it's about the execution of it. So the approach to the actual content being presented in that class. So what does the content mean? Let's take a squat, for example. You can do like pick one of 15 basic squat warm-ups, etc., and then squat and do like all the classic stuff with like hold tension and be aware of and how to pull yourself under the bar, etc. Or there's a different approach on how can we combine our new training logbook, like where you can take notes. So like literally stuff that I'm seeing in a class setting. And yes, there's still enough time in a class setting to spend a couple of seconds, maybe half a minute with each and every single person and figuring out, hey, did you feel your right glute on the last squat? Was it the left glute? Was it both? Did you engage the hamstrings on the way down? Did you engage both? What did you feel on the way up? Like, did you feel like losing tension? And then we can start deepening that conversation towards, okay, so how can we approach the next squat? And typically I approach it with two things. One is stop doing one thing and think about one particular thing you want to do in the next rep. So for example, if you felt like you're shifting from the left to the right, guess what? Have an emphasis on the next rep to put more weight on the left when you come up. Or you feel the right glute or both glutes, but no hammies. And then we're going to start having a conversation about, okay, when you need your hammies most, like on the way down or the way up. And I think you need them way more on the way down, by the way. So you're going to use them as literally as putting the brakes on once you go down in the squat. And then it just starts a conversation, and it's not like the 5 cues that are written on the whiteboard, and we're trying to kind of mimic doing all of them right, and actually nothing happens, like nothing improves. And what we've seen over the last 4 weeks, I guess 3 weeks, is the epiphanies when our members are starting to see like changes in, maybe not even necessarily like in their squad from one session, but in their own approach of what training really means. Like We talked about this before, the passive active approach. Like there's something you can do about it, and it's not just any like God given bad day for squatting. So I think that makes not only squatting and powerlifting really exciting, but like deepening the conversations not on a theoretical level, but on a practical level about about the squat, about muscles being engaged, about how to change stuff. I think that's stuff that really like fires me up and fires people up, because like that feels like gaining control back from like an outside power, so to speak. So that's what we're literally playing with now in the powerlifting cycle, and we're all excited to kind of compete, quote unquote, on the 22nd. And we're gonna have different rules on in the powerlifting competition. So and that's how we're kind of selling it. It's not about like the PR or the kilos you're gonna move on the 22nd on the actual competition day. It's like facing adversity, facing a little fear of, hey, competing in front of others, moving a lot of weight, maybe being afraid to fail. And I think that's the real beauty of becoming better, is facing stuff that you don't like doing. That's no, that's not the easy part, but that's the easier part. And then secondly, it's, hey, get a coach and like find somebody you can actually work with, like that you can talk to, that you can have a like an honest conversation with when it comes down to the squatting. We had such a moment today in the coaching meeting. We squatted, so I squatted with Toby and Phil, and there's just moments where like me or Toby or Phil are just like, ooh, this is gonna be heavy, and it's like, yeah. And then there's a little bro talk coming up, and but then on a serious side note, it's like, no, we'll keep it here for that day. Like I squatted 160 today, which felt great, and I probably could have done more, but I just decided, hey, this is enough for the day. I felt great. Maybe I had like one or two more in the tank, fine. But I've reached my personal like happiness state for the day, and that's a tough line, because sometimes you feel lazy because you should do more, but sometimes maybe less is more, and more focus is actually gonna get you better results in the long run. So to sum it up real quick, you don't have to like reinvent the wheel in terms of like events or cycles or competitions. Maybe just try to change your approach, how you quote unquote gonna present it to your people. And maybe that requires a lot of like change in your own behavior, like just as a little homework, like sit down or like observe yourself next time you're talking about whether it's a squat or a competition. Like, how would you perceive what you just said to your people? And if it doesn't sound enticing to you, guess what? It might not be very enticing to your peeps. All right, that's it for today. Keep on sending those questions, and I guess we'll talk next time.